Hi there. Thanks for checking out my video where I'm going to be checking out 3 different examples of cottage design style here in the Les Cheneaux Islands. If you're somebody who appreciates the cool settings and designs of the cottages populating the shoreline here, you've definitely come to the right place. So the first example we're going to look at is what I'm going to call a log lodge for shorthand. And it's a full log lodge style home that's located on the mainland here in Cedarville. I took these videos in early October and I was sort of battling the shadows. Unfortunately, it isn't the greatest light, but you can see that it's a pretty sprawling home, highly customized, sort of reminiscent of a structure you might expect to see in an inland location as a hunting lodge or like a wilderness estate. But the log home aesthetic is certainly popular along the shoreline here in Les Cheneaux, and this is a great example of one. One of the standout features to me is the curvature of this front room, taking advantage of the panoramic views this home has at the end of a point. I believe it's called Melcher's Point for those of you who are into the geography here in the islands. For the second example, we're going to venture out to Marquette Island and to another point location. I'm going to call this style a cedar cabin, which is sort of a catch-all term for the early style of cedar-sided cabins you'll see in a lot of island locations. They'll a lot of times have a covered front porch that's spanning the width of the home, taking advantage of outdoor spaces, which you can imagine was a priority for a property that in these early examples you only occupied for 6 to 8 weeks out of the summer. And they'll a lot of times have a second story loft. It would be interesting to know if the front of this house is open to the second story with some sort of balcony that's open to the downstairs, or if it's 2 separate stories. Either way, it has an incredibly timeless quality to it, and it's one of the styles that's most associated with the early island architecture. Last but not least, we'll take a look at example number 3, also on Marquette Island. I'm going to call this a classic Les Cheneaux cottage. And it's funny, I feel like when I'm talking to a real estate buyer and they're looking for a cottage up here, this is what they're after in a lot of instances without being able to verbalize what those traits are that they're looking for. This particular example is on a pretty steep hill and has a walkout lower level for lodging or storage, but the focal points for me are, and what kind of defines this style, are the shingle siding, that covered front porch, and the wide dormer window making up most of the second floor. This is an original cabin that seems to be refurbished over the years, but it has a lot of nice customizations for the time period. The porch railing has this retro pattern that you'll see in older cottages. I like that they preserved it. And there's also a small fieldstone fireplace in the center of the home, further distinguishing it. So those are the 3 examples. We've got the log lodge, the cedar cabin, and we also have the classic cottage. What is your favorite? Please let me know in the comments, and thank you for checking out my video. I hope to be back with another video soon, taking a look at boathouses in the Les Cheneaux Islands.